contribute to the Git, are you going to have them kind of review some of the stuff when they come in on, like, let's say I put this up there and here's what it does and why?
Well, yeah, we'll do pull requests.
Scratching your head about it.
So we'll do pull requests.
Yeah, yeah. And what he's talking about, like, go over it with a group.
As a group, right?
Yeah.
Say,
Yeah, probably have like major milestones.
That'd be good.
Always looking for input. This is their. I mean, these are the guys that headed it up.
All right.
Are you seeing my page now?
Seems like that'd be good.
You are? You're seeing the slides?
Hello. Yes. You downstairs or one away?
All right, that's there. Oh, shoot. Why is the monitor showing? How are we doing on time? Oh, we're pretty good. We're close to 7. There's a Wi-Fi up there if anybody wants Wi-Fi.
Everybody wants some.
What's up with the 80s band references? Like somebody was talking excess, he's doing Van Halen. I call Van Halen an 80s band, it's true.
It was like 70s, yeah, 80s. I just remember that song from, is it Better Off Dead?
Better Off Dead?
$2. Cooking in the, yeah, I want my $2. If nobody's
Meyer.
Yeah.
Meyer.
My favorite are those the Asian guys who learned English off of
In the race car?
Yeah.
Albert Coke style. Those guys?
yeah.
And it's a Cinderella story. Yeah, that's a killer
I'm
movie.
working on getting myself.
I'm in my second marriage, so I had to like throw away all those DVDs because
yeah.
I realized it ruined my first marriage.
Oh yeah.
Sure, why not? You know, you keep if you watch Caddyshack enough, you realize it's bad. You can't grow up. Can't watch that off that anymore. Kid, can't be Peter Pan.
Okay. Good.
So
Good.
pizza stragglers.
Yeah. Let's bring my name. Oh, it's recording my screen. That's interesting. Interesting. It's recording my camera and it's not sharing my. One day this is all going to be really easy, right?
I'm hoping it's seamless now.
Yeah. What the heck is that? Oh, man. Really? Okay. It doesn't like. It's not sharing the right screen. Maybe I can't maximize it. What do you see now, Doug? Do you see the slide?
your face.
See my face? Is that probably not what you want to see?
But I've transferred you, so you should be able to.
Yeah, I shared it, but it wasn't showing the right one when I shared entire screen. What do you see now? See the slides?
Nope. See you're paused and you're. Oh, there we go. Now I see window.
You don't see the slide?
I see a slide. Yeah. I see a browser panel.
You see Novamine?
Yes, browser tab is what I'm seeing. Yep.
I think if I maximize it,
I mean, I'm seeing that.
okay. I think that's good enough, don't you?
Yeah.
I'll try presenting really quick and see if it doesn't break it. Here, tell me if you still see it.
Okay, that's it. Looks good.
Looks good?
Yep.
Ah, look at that. All right. This one?
Yeah.
All right, everybody, welcome. So it was a great turnout for our first meeting in 2015. We didn't get going in January and February, but we're set now for the rest of the year. So we're going to be meeting. So I'm Doug Schnelzer. This is Doug Toppin. We've both been co-facilitating, co-leading this group since January of last year. And this is Andre. He's a high school senior. He's kind of be joining us as our special liaison, if you will, to the project that we're going to be doing. So if you haven't said hi to Andre next month or afterwards, say hi to Andre. That'd be great. So the agenda for tonight doesn't want to work, huh? Try. Oh, that's all right.
Oh, turn it on. There's on one side there's a on button. So that way in the battery.
All right. So we're going to be talking tonight, and I mean we means all of us. So I will facilitate, but I'm really hoping that this becomes very participatory. So I do have some slides, but a lot of my slides I have up here just have headings on them and no bullets. And that's not because, as Chris said, I was just kind of slacking and coming unprepared. It's because I wanted to foster some group conversation and participation in terms of what we're going to do. So what's this group about? There are a lot of new faces. How many folks is the first time here? So yeah, it's like half. So that's pretty cool. So there's about 350 people on the list. People kind of come and go, and it goes. We took off January and February, so it might take the regulars a meeting or two to say, oh, okay, you're really back on again. That's cool. And then we'll have more folks. If we need to, we've got a bigger place down and across the parking lot, which we can use if we need to. So we'll see. This is about max, but that's cool. So what's this group about? We started the group in January of 2014, and the idea was to create a meetup. There were meetups about Mongo meetups. There were AngularJS meetups. There were Node.js meetups, and there were some of those that met in DC, and there were some of those that met in Nova, because I don't know if y'all try and go to some of the ones down in DC. If you live out here, you know you can do it, but it's a trek. And if you all are coming from, any of you coming from DC, you all made that trek in reverse, so glad to have you with us. But the idea was to create a meetup that would cover all of those topics, so that if you kind of had one meetup that you were attending and you went to a good chunk of them throughout the year, you get a sense of this whole stack. And I like to call it full stack. Full stack's been used for various things over the decades, but more and more, you know, in this year, it's being talked about in the context of JavaScript architectures from end to end. So with Mongo, we're storing JSON documents. Node's managing pure JavaScript. Angular's pure JavaScript. And so it's a lot, and that's one of the big productivities. A lot of folks say, why mean? That's definitely one of them. And there's, you know, a variety in there. But the fact that traditionally we had to do stuff, you had maybe Java or C# or something in the middle. You're talking SQL on the back end. On the front end, you were trying to throw up either, you know, just data that you were inserting into forms, or you're doing XML or JSON. All these level of conversions, all these frameworks to handle that. And one of the big benefits of Mean is it's just JSON and it's object representation, which is JSON. So you got JavaScript and JSON top to bottom. And so the idea with the meetup is that if you want to come to this, it's a way of really getting some breadth throughout the year on all those different topics. Every quarter, we tried last year to touch on one of them. So we tried each quarter to have a talk on either Mongo. We'd have another month, we would have one on Node. Another one we would have on Angular. And then we kind of had 1 month in there that was a free-for-all. And we did pretty well. I don't know how we did on total, but we definitely touched each of those a couple times throughout the year with various topics. You can go on the meetup and see stuff. All our meetups are on in YouTube, so you can actually check out anything from last year if you want to go back and look at some of the stuff we did last year. So when we wrapped up in December, we said, hey, this was great. We touched on all these technologies. We had a lot of speakers come in, kind of go into various areas and talk to us about how they worked. And that was cool. I think we all got something out of that. But, you know, we'd really like to learn this a little bit more and learn. And we decided the best way to do this would be to actually have some hands-on time. And so we talked about how do we get that hands-on time. There's things like Node School, and you can do various incarnations of that using, you know, an Angular, various things like that. But one of the ideas that was thrown out that everybody seemed to gravitate towards is let's pick an app and actually build it over the course of the year. And we brought that up in December. The group of folks here said, yep, that sounds like a good idea. Let's go do that. And one of the things we thought is, well, hey, if we're going to build an app, we could just build something that's kind of a playground and just kind of have that. But why not, you know, do two things at once? Let's build an app and actually build it that's actually going to benefit someone. And so wanting to have some sort of community awareness and maybe do something nice for the community. We found a volunteer nonprofit organization. It's a 501c3 called Mobile Hope, and they could really use a mobile app. And so we're going to talk a little bit about who they are. So really this year, we're still going to have the idea of some talks on all the topics, but we're going to try and keep our talks to like half an hour to 45 minutes. So a little more than a lightning talk, but not necessarily a 2-hour deep dive, right? It's going to be various things. And so I've got one of the SEs from Azure is going to come. I had no idea that Azure, which is a cloud hosting platform, supported Node. I thought you could only spin up Windows. And then, as everybody knows, you can stand up Linux servers in Azure. That was news to me. But not only that, it does a pretty nice job of it. And so, maybe he'll come for half an hour and talk about the platform as a service offering that Azure has and how we can actually deploy our Node. So we'll have things like that. We'll get one of the Mongo guys to come in, maybe do some stuff. There's a lot to talk about in Angular 2.0. Some folks already brought up. So those will all be topics. And it's always really nice when you all say, hey, either I've got something I feel really solid about, I feel comfortable talking about this topic, it's within the mean space, or I know somebody, guy does talks, or gal, even better. Do we have any women? No, all right, so we got to work on that. I don't know what it is about meetups and the tech, but it's hard to get that. So I'd love to have more women joining us. If anybody has good ideas on how to spread that around, that'd be awesome. So yeah, anybody who has talks, and it takes a little bit of stress off the speaker too, because you're only going to be talking for half an hour to 45 minutes, so lower the expectations a little bit, learn something interesting. But then from the rest of the time, which will go from say 7:30, 7:45 to 8:30, I'm fine staying till 9 if folks want to, but in that time frame, we're actually going to dig in, and we're going to build something. So we're actually going to do something. And so that's the gist of what we're planning for 2005 and what we talked about in December and everybody thought was a good idea. So how does that sound to everybody? Decent? Okay. All right. Keep going. Hey, look at that. It's cool. All right. So who's this app for? So this is an organization. Andre's done some volunteer work for them and worked with them, helped a little bit with some of the kids. And I've done a little bit as well, and they're active in the Loudoun community. So Mobile Hope, their mission is really, and that's their facility. It's in Leesburg, just as you go into downtown Leesburg. And they're going to come up. Yeah. Let me make it a little bigger. So maybe readable. So anybody can go to this, and we'll have the site up there. So they're designed to support really homeless kids in Loudoun County. And when I first learned about it, I'm like, homeless? What do you mean homeless kids in Loudoun County? And they actually have 1,100 kids that are classified as homeless, that they don't have a parental figure directly, taking care of them right now. Some of these kids actually do live in tents. And a lot of these kids are what they would say couch hopping. Or maybe they're living with friends, right, or kind of getting around, but they don't have a stable, with a guardian home environment. And so there's lots of needs they have. In this group, Mobile Hope, they were incubated for a while by by Inova Healthcare Systems, and then they kind of graduated from that, and now they're a self-supporting, self-sustaining organization. They help the kids with food, clothes, hygiene products, school supplies. They'll have backpacks occasionally where these kids can come back and just pick up a backpack. And they do a lot of just trying to be there and provide support for these kids and do things like that as well. They've got a bus that goes out, so they kind of have a mobile bus that goes out, and they know how to help folks. They're plugged in with some of the school guidance counselors and stuff like that. So that's who Mobile Hope is. And Donna Fortier is the head. I think they've got about 5 or 6 people on staff. And that's their office. And so Andre and I went and talked to Donna at the end of last year and said, what kind of stuff could we do that would help out? That's good enough. And so she said a mobile application would actually really be a big help. Right now they deal with spreadsheets, paper, a variety of things like that. And it works, but it's not nearly as efficient as it could be. And so certainly the inventory of all these things, if you go in that, almost looks like that MASH building. It reminded me of MASH, that corrugated steel thing. And yeah, okay, that's cool. Lots of people still watch MASH. What are you saying? Yes. So, but they need to keep track of, the clothing, the food they got. They've got, girls that are pregnant or have kids, and so they've got things for little kids or prenatal care. They've got textbooks and things like that for school, so all kinds of things. So it's just like a standard inventory management problem that we can deal with. They do actually track the children themselves, and so one of the things we'll have to be getting into, and I'll make sure that we're not treading into any dangerous water, but actually tracking the kids themselves, so they can keep track of who they're seeing and how they're seeing. There's actually this concept of HMIS, and it's actually a homeless management information system. Is actually something that exists. And so how far we get into this will be interesting to see. We'll probably start with something that's going to be easier for us to implement, that's going to go end to end, or let us get everything there. And then as we go throughout the year and we have participation, we'll see what we're going to do. But Donna and her team over at Mobile Hope will be our customer. And this is a decent-sized open source project team. So it's kind of put the two together and let's see what happens. Yeah. Any